The Zephyrian Council had constructed the arena for a very specific purpose: to demonstrate the futility of resistance against their galactic empire. It was a perfect sphere of reinforced titanium carbide, 50 meters in diameter, with no weapons, no shelter, and no mercy. The gravity was set to crushing levels, 3 times standard, and the atmosphere was thin enough to make every breath a struggle for most species. Commander Vexthal watched from the observation deck as the latest volunteer was escorted into the arena. The human walked with an easy stride that seemed almost casual, hands clasped behind his back as if he were taking a leisurely stroll through a garden, rather than entering what every species in the galaxy knew as certain death. Subject designation: Marcus Chen, human Terran colonial marine, announced the arena's AI in its cold, mechanical voice. Crimes: terrorism, insurgency, destruction of imperial property, murder of imperial citizens. Sentence: combat trial by ordeal. Vextal's 4 eyes narrowed as he studied the human through the reinforced viewing panel. Chen appeared unremarkable by human standards: average height, lean build, graying hair at the temples. He wore simple prison fatigues and bore no visible weapons. What troubled the commander was the human's complete lack of fear. In his 3 decades overseeing executions, Vexthal had never seen a condemned being so relaxed. The arena floor began to hum as the first wave materialized. 3 Korthak hunting beasts, each standing 2 meters at the shoulder with razor-sharp claws and acidic saliva that could melt through steel plating. They had never failed to tear apart their prey within minutes. Chen rolled his shoulders and cracked his knuckles. "Finally," he muttered, loud enough for the arena's sensors to pick up. "I was getting stiff." The first Korthak lunged with lightning speed, its massive jaws gaping wide. Chen sidestepped with fluid grace, his hand shooting out to grab the creature's lower jaw. With a sharp twist and a sickening crack, the beast dropped limp to the arena floor. Vextal's mandibles clicked. In confusion, the movement had been so fast, so precise, that the recording sensors had barely captured it. The second Korthak approached more cautiously, circling its prey. Chen didn't wait. He sprinted toward the creature, leaped impossibly high despite the crushing gravity, and brought his elbow down on the beast's skull with enough force to crater the arena floor beneath it. The third Korthak tried to flee. Chen caught it before it had taken 3 steps, his hands finding the creature's neck with surgical precision. Another twist, another crack, another corpse. "Interesting," Chen said, examining his hands with the clinical detachment of a scientist. "The bone density's actually quite impressive. I'd estimate these things could probably take down a standard combat mech." In the observation deck, Senior Admiral Krixnog leaned forward in his hover chair. "Commander, what did this human do in his military service?" Vexthal consulted his tablet, his confidence wavering. "Records indicate standard infantry training, nothing special." The arena's AI announced the second wave: a pack of 6 Velteran Shadowcats, apex predators capable of brief dimensional shifts and equipped with neurotoxic fangs. They materialized simultaneously around Chen, their forms flickering in and out of visibility. Chen stretched his arms above his head, working out a kink in his neck. "Shadowcats, really? I haven't seen these since the Proxima campaigns." He paused, seeming to remember something fondly. Good times. What happened next defied every tactical manual in the Imperial database. Chen moved like liquid lightning, his body seeming to predict exactly where each Shadowcat would materialize. He caught the first one mid-phase shift, somehow solid punching a creature that was half-shifted into another dimension. The second tried to bite his leg and found itself grabbing empty air as Chen twisted away and drove his knee into its spine. The remaining 4 attacked in perfect coordination. Chen smiled. 20 seconds later, 6 Shadowcat corpses lay arranged, in a neat pile, and Chen was checking his pulse with the casual interest of someone monitoring their workout routine. "Heart rate's only at about 60%, he mused aloud. "I really am getting out of shape." Admiral Crixnog's voice cracked as he spoke into his communicator. Arena control. Deploy the final wave. All of it. Now. The arena floor erupted as the coup de grace materialized. A fully grown Titan-class destructor beast, standing 15 meters tall with armor plating that could withstand orbital bombardment and plasma cannons integrated into its forelimbs. It was a creature that had single-handedly destroyed entire battle fleets. Chen looked up at the monster, shielding his eyes from the arena's lights. Now that, he said with genuine appreciation, is more like it. The destructor beast fired both plasma cannons simultaneously. The arena floor where Chen had been standing vaporized instantly, leaving a smoking crater 5 meters wide. Chen landed softly behind the creature, having somehow leaped clear over its massive bulk. "You know," he said conversationally as the beast began to turn, "on Earth we have a saying about bigger opponents." The destructor beast swung one massive claw toward him. Chen caught it. "The bigger they are," he continued, his feet sliding slightly as he absorbed the tremendous force, "the harder they fall." What followed was less a fight than a physics demonstration. Chen found handholds in the creature's armor, using its own mass and momentum against it with techniques that seemed to blend engineering principles with combat artistry. Every movement was economical, precise, and devastating. When the destructor beast finally crashed to the arena floor, its armor cracked and its internal systems failing, Chen was barely breathing hard. He walked to the arena's center and looked directly up at the observation deck. "So," he called out, his voice carrying clearly through the arena's acoustics, "is that it for warm-ups? Because I've got about 47 minutes before my afternoon training session, and I'd hate to waste the time." In the stunned silence that followed, Admiral Crixnog found his voice. "Commander Vexthal, I want this human's complete military record. All of it. Classified sections included." Vexthal's claws trembled as he accessed the deepest Imperial databases. When the information finally appeared, his blood ran cold. "Sir," he whispered, "according to these files, Marcus Chen wasn't standard infantry. He was part of something called the Terran Peace Corps." The Admiral's primary eyes widened in horror. "Peace Corps? You mean this was a humanitarian?" Down in the arena, Chen had found a comfortable spot to sit and was apparently meditating while he waited for the next challenge. "Sir," Vexthal continued, his voice barely audible, "there's a note in his file. It says he retired from active combat duty because, and I quote, the work wasn't challenging enough anymore." The observation deck fell silent except for the sound of the arena's ventilation system and the quiet, rhythmic breathing of the human below, a human who had just treated their most lethal execution method as a light workout. Admiral Crixnog closed all 4 eyes and tried very hard not to think about what humanity's actual soldiers might be capable of.